Hey everybody. So my life just keeps getting interesting. Either I'm attracted to certain things or I don't know. Anyways, I got my negative COVID notification by noon today. You know, no cough, no sniffles, no nothing. So between that and I'm clear. I'm free. I don't have the quarantine anymore. But okay, I'm gonna go out, pick up a package that's waiting for me, pick up some bread and stuff. So I go to Co-op, pick up my mail, and then I pick up some bread and some cheese for grilled cheese sandwiches, and I go wait in the quick checkout line. Now, for those, I'm going to explain a little history there for those who haven't known before. About 2 years ago, when all this nonsense started, some of you know I was waiting in line at Walmart, and I was finishing bagging up my stuff. I hadn't even left the till yet. And another person came up and plunked their stuff down beside me, right beside me. Um, and the lady there at Walmart, she's like, sir, you have to wait till I clean it. You have to wait till he leaves. And he was very rude to her and told her, not for me, ha ha ha, and just dismissed her. Now, I want you to keep in mind the story I'm about to tell you, that the person that I turned around and just tore a strip off of for being rude, impolite, was a white male. And the employee at Walmart was a female indigenous person. Just so we have that in context. So this is not something that's happened, has not happened before, but you're going to need to have that in context to truly understand what happened next. So I go there and I wait till the lady in front of me is done, and the lady says, motion me to come, and I set my stuff down, and she starts scanning it, and I tell her, I'd like this lottery ticket, and I'm looking about, digging my wallet, getting my card ready, and also hear her say, "Did you just have bread?" And I'm like, "No," and I turn around, and some other lady had just gone and plunked her stuff down there. So the lady didn't know what to reach for because she didn't know whose was mine. So I reached over, grabbed my two items, and said, "That's just me. That's it." And I, in my head, I'm like, "Good grief! Like, you couldn't wait just a little bit." But that, whatever. And I don't think anything of it at the moment. The lady is just doing her job and informs the lady. She goes, "Ma'am, you have to wait till his stuff is clear and he's gone before you put your stuff down." Just doing her job, explaining the rules. And she continues to start getting my lottery tickets and all that. And the lady, who is African American or African or black, however you want to say it, had quite a heavy accent. Uh, she starts going off to the lady, just yakking at her. And she goes, "I belong here. You don't talk to me like I'm one of your children. I'm not one of your children. I belong here." And I'm like, oh my God, like nobody said anything about you not belonging here. She's just following her job. And she's pacing just a little bit by the front there, and she's muttering all this stuff under her breath. And all of a sudden I hear a phrase, which at first I wasn't too sure I heard it, but it set me off. And I turned around to her and I looked at her and said, "Ma'am, she's just doing her job. You have to wait till my stuff is gone, and then she can either clean it or tell you it's okay to go. She's just doing her job." Well, oh yeah, she just read me. "Don't you talk to me that way. Was I talking to you?" And I'm like, "No, but you're being rude to her, and she was just explaining the rules. You don't talk to me that way. I belong here." And I'm like, "I didn't say you didn't belong here. You're being rude to her. You're being rude." And she starts, all of a sudden, she's raising her voice. And I'm like, "No, you don't get to talk to people that way." She's like, "I wasn't talking to you. You don't talk to me." I said, "I'll talk to you." She says, "You don't." She goes, "Don't you start anything." I'm like, "I've already started it." I'm looking at her now. I'm like, "No, I'm not going to be quiet," because suddenly you just think somehow I don't have an opinion because you're being rude to an employee. And so I tell her, says, "No." I says, "It has nothing to do with you. You're being rude. You're raising your voice. You're being rude to me. You're being rude to her." "No, you're only being rude." And then she says what was similar to what she says is, You wouldn't talk to this way if I was white. It squeezed me 3 rays from Sunday. This has nothing to do with your color, lady. You were being rude, ignorant. Somebody called you on it, and your response was to raise your voice, begin yelling at me, accusing me of racism, all because I called you up for your bad behavior. And then I says, no, I says, you're being rude to her, you're being rude to me. So yeah, I'm being rude back to you. You don't get to be rude to people. And then she once again accused me of being basically racist. And that was it. Okay, this is not acceptable. I turned to the nearest other employee. I mean, this poor teller is just like a 70-year-old lady just trying to make a living. And this woman's been berating her, calling her racist and all that. And so I stepped in. I called her, said, get a manager. And then the lady's like, why you get a manager? Why you have to get a manager? Because I'm black? And I'm like, no, because you're being rude and ignorant. She says, you don't get to talk to people that way. You're being rude and disruptive. Well, I guess so, because now my voice is raised. I'm going to yell right back at her. And now people in the store are looking. Now, this is an interesting thing. I noticed this. I don't know. People are like frozen like deer in a headlight. Suddenly there's a confrontation and absolutely nobody wants a part of it. I mean, there is a little black guy who I don't know if he was with the lady. He's taking a side. He's looking at me, but you can tell he ain't saying anything. The manager finally comes over and he's just sort of standing there, what's going on? And I'm explaining. And she says again, no, he's just being like this way because I'm not white. And I look at him like, are you going to do that? Like, this is not acceptable. Defend your employee. And he goes, no, it's not acceptable. But his bold body language is screaming, I so don't want to do anything with this. Now, in the meantime, I realized I hadn't punched my pin for a mistake. So I tell it to the clerk, and I'm like, oh, I don't think we completed it. She says, no, try again. So I'm finishing it off. This lady is still going off about how I'm being rude. Nobody gets to talk to her that way. It's all because, she's not white. And at that moment, I so wanted to tell her, it has nothing to do with race. You're a rude, ignorant person. You've been called out on it. You know nothing about me. While I'm estranged from many parts of my family, I can say that I have a daughter of a cousin who is half black and she competes for Canada. I have lots of friends from Pakistan, Rwanda, you name it. It has nothing to do with race. You are just simply being a rude, ignorant person. And you have been so indoctrinated that anybody questions you who's white must be racist. And anybody who questions you, it must be because of the color of your skin. No, you are just simply a rude, ignorant person. But the thing that really stood to me is how nobody wanted to do anything about this. So, but now a second manager is there. And I look at him and I'm like, are you going to do anything about this? Or are you just going to wait till I leave so you can just brush this off? And Hugo says, no, it's not acceptable to be dealt with. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave. And I looked back at the guy that was standing beside her. Like I said, I don't know if he was with her or not. And I just shook my head at him like, because if you're with her, the fact that you allowing her to just go off like this shows either one, you think the exact same thing about her, or me, what she's saying, or you just think it's acceptable. And it's not. It has nothing to do with skin. You just don't get to treat people that way. Oh, and she really lost it when I told her to apologize to the lady. Oh yeah, she was like, she laughed. She laughed out loud. The idea that she had to apologize for her way she talked to that lady was beyond. And she could tell, she couldn't understand why I would bother getting involved in this because she was talking to the lady that way. And so I got to tell you this. Now, I didn't mention all that and the fact I was a veteran, because you meant to mention you're a veteran in the situation of this, people get squirrely. So I just kept my mouth and I left. Shaking my head. I could not believe. But you see it on TV, you see it on things, but you see these people when they're confronted, they immediately jump to the race card. And I had never been personally on the receiving end of that. And I tell you, it's surreal. So I'm going to tell you this. 5 generations of my family have fought, died, and served for this country. Only one death out of all. We were pretty lucky. What we surged for was the idea that we're a nation of laws. We don't stand up to tyranny, and you don't get to just dismiss somebody, be rude to somebody. You have to be part of society that cares for each other. And what we have in society now is not that. We have this woke culture where everything is immediately hypersensitive. I'm a minority, you disagree with me, has to be your race. You're white, you're automatically a racist. I can be rude, ignorant, disruptive, vandalize, whatever, as long as it's a woke cause, a woke thing. Anybody who disagrees with me is a bigot, a racist. No, you know what it is? You people. And when I say you people, like Don Cherry, I'm not referring to anybody of specific gender, race, or religion. I'm saying you people who are so entitled, so ignorant. When we call you out for that, it's not because of what you believe or whatever, because you're a rude, ignorant person. And this lady was a rude, ignorant woman. And I called her out because it wasn't acceptable, and she should have apologized to the teller. Now, whether Co-op did anything after I left and just, did the whole apology there, or they said you're not allowed back in the store to the lady, I have no idea. I left. But I got to say this, people. If the way people are in headlights, if you don't start speaking up when people are rude to other citizens and demanding accountability, regardless of your race, gender, religion, creed, whatever, this society is doomed. We cannot allow people to treat other people like dirt in front of us. And if they call you out and they try and play the race card, tough tootie. You know what you are, how you feel, and what it's about. You can let them be as big a nonsense and dickweeds as they want to be, but we no longer should be able to stand silent and just allow people to belittle people and then pull stunts when you call them out on it. We as a society need to start holding each other accountable. And this is going to sound really bad, but lady, if you think anybody who calls you out for your rude, ignorant behavior is racist, then you really need to wonder if you belong here, because this is what Canada's about. And there are many who are here and go for that, because that is a cancer and an attitude that we don't need in this country. Anyways, just had a rant, get it off. Unbelievable. Could not believe it.